Space Coast Daily on location at the Malcolm McLouth Fishing Pier, named after this gentleman, Malcolm McLouth, who's the Republican and one of the Republican candidates for the port seat. Mac, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Tell us about what you have to share with us today.
Well, one of my main issues is the revisiting of the port's master plan, which was just approved this spring. And I feel that they should take another look at it, particularly in the Cove area, where they're talking about hooking the Cove area, which is an impoundment area for water runoff, also into our main basin.
So, Mac, the port's master plan includes changing the Cove. Tell us about that.
Well, this is the Cove down here. This is the tower down here. This is the impoundment area here. It's going to be enlarged and hooked up to the main channel, and they'll put their work boats in here. Unfortunately, the impoundment then will have to be replaced with some other method of cleaning the water. You can't just dump it into the area. So once you hook it up, you've got to replace it.
So let me just clarify. So the big pond that people see around the tower right now is actually a retention pond, retaining the water before it's filtered into the aquifer. Is that right?
That's right.
All right.
Before it goes into any surface water.
Okay. So if they open this up to the channel, where will that water be retained?
Well, they haven't come up with an idea, except that they were talking about a deep well injection as a possibility.
Okay, well,
tell us about
expensive. Yeah, tell us about deep well injections and how that would work in your opinion.
Well, it's a very expensive alternative because we in northern or central Florida, we have you got to go down so darn deep. It's not like Miami where it's fairly close.
Like how deep are we talking?
Oh, 2,000-3,000 feet. You know,
wow.
It's a big deal, and then you have to put monitoring wells around it and monitor it for a couple of years to make sure that it's not getting into any surface water areas.
I know you're a civil engineer, so obviously you would know quite a bit about this. So they would actually have to drill wells 2,000-3,000 feet down into the area around the current tower, and
then pump water into it, and then make shallower wells to measure to make sure that they weren't getting any interface between the two of them.
Right. So that's obviously a very long process, expensive process. In your view, not the best way to go. In your view, which is the best way to go?
The best way to go is to go to develop the park out here.
So, Mac, obviously you feel as though the current master plan needs some rethinking regarding the proposed plan around the tower. Tell us about an alternative plan that you think makes more sense.
I think the alternative plan is to alternately develop Avocet Lagoon. It's located right here just south of the locks. And that particular area could be also used, could have an opening into the Banana River, and we could dilute the waters and the brown tide there. So it's got a double meaning there. If we can develop that lagoon, that area here, from here to here is about 3 miles. So you'd bring the water in here, right in here, open right the lock into the lagoon right here, and put a weir right here, which would shuffle the water to help dilute and clean the lagoon.
So obviously one of the big reasons you're running then, obviously you've been there before, you've been a commissioner many times before, and you've decided to run again and why is that, Mac? Why are you deciding you want to run again?
Well, I feel that I've got the knowledge and the experience, and it's been frustrating to sit out there and only have 3 minutes to give them my opinions, which I have. I've attended all the meetings for the last 7 years when I retired to take care of my wife, but it's a real big deal, and you know, I feel I've got time left and energy left to help the port.
So basically, again, the salient point here is the master plan is obviously terrific in many, many ways, but Mac has some input that he would like to provide and he feels are important to the future of Port Canaveral. One of them being this plan regarding the Cove, which you can see there. That's a rendering of what the Cove would look like should they go ahead and dig it out and link it to the channel with the work boats, and then of course they'd have to dig the wells as Mac said, versus using this piece of property over by the lock gates called Avocet Lagoon, which Mac is pointing to create an area there for a cove, work boats, and at the same time, which seems like you're killing two birds with one stone, to help the Indian River Lagoon, which I know is a huge issue for you.
One of the other issues to make that possible, of course, is the raising of the bridge here, which they're attempting to get funding for now, because the state is interested or concerned about all of the fuel supplies that are located over here in the case we have a hurricane that knocks that bridge out for some reason. Why they'll be starved for automobile gas and airplane gas in Central Florida.
Obviously a lot to think about, a lot to consider, an incredible amount of information to digest and make the right decision. Mac, thanks for joining us today, and thank you for your willingness to serve.
Thank you.